AITA. For yelling at my husband that my cancer isn't a choice. Ever since I, female 31, got diagnosed with cancer, breast cancer, months ago, my husband had to come home from his business stay that lasted for neatly 8 months. He cancelled his contract with the company and got replaced. He drives me to the hospital and takes care of my medication, and I'm so grateful for that. But he developed this habit of blaming my condition for every little thing. He'd make comments like, "Because of your cancer now I had to drive in the middle of the night to look for medicine," and "Because of your cancer I had to pull XYZ from my bank account to cover the bills," and "Because of your cancer I haven't seen my family in a while," or he'd say, "If it wasn't for your cancer I'd had still had my contract," and "If it wasn't for your cancer we'd had to beg my dad for help," basically blaming me for my condition. I grew tired of it, but I couldn't say anything, thinking he's saying those things out of frustration. But it's become too much and it has worn me down. Final straw was days ago. He was reheating dinner for himself. He hates to eat anything frozen, and put it on the table and started eating with disgust all over his face. I was grabbing a glass of water, so I entered the kitchen where he was staying. He saw me, then loudly said, "Who would have ever thought I'd settle for a frozen meal? Because of your cancer now my health is declining because all I eat is frozen junk since you can't even cook." I snapped. I yelled at him, saying that my cancer isn't a choice, and that I'm not happy with the situation I'm in, and that his constant remarks about my condition have gone too far and needed to be stopped. He got mad and argued, saying that he's in this too and he's as much affected as I am, and that I'm being incredibly unfair by yelling at him for just venting and letting his frustration out so he wouldn't have to bottle it up, then explode and leave everything. He threw his fork, then walked out. I sat down and cried a bit. I felt bad for how I yelled at him, but I was getting fed up of having to listen to him say all those things day and night on top of everything else I'm dealing with. "Ma'am, I hate your husband. Even bad people deserve better support than you're getting during this awful period." I'm forced to think of a wonderful woman I knew who passed a few years ago to cancer. Her husband was a support juggernaut. I watched him clean up after her, cook for her, put her makeup on her. Towards the end, she asked. And he was thankful for every moment he got to assist her because she was still with him. "I'm sorry, but your husband can go screw himself. I hope you recover and find someone who actually loves you, because this guy just doesn't. At least not the way he should to warrant marriage and a lifetime together. Not the asshole. Excuse me? He is as much affected as you are. Your own body is trying to kill you and he is keeping score because he had to eat frozen food? Throw that whole man out and use the extra peace you gain to help in your recovery. If he can't be supportive, he can be quiet. And he can learn to cook for himself. It's not your job when you're ill, and maybe not even when you're well. If he wants to vent to someone about how hard your cancer is for him, he needs to do that to someone else. They even have support groups for that. Good luck and take care of yourself. Not the asshole. Not the asshole op, and I'm sorry if this is too harsh, but your husband, hopefully soon to be ex-husband, has a special place in hell waiting for him for constantly blaming you for having cancer. The fact he even had the balls to say with a straight face that his health was declining because he was having to eat reheated food when you're literally fighting for your life against breast cancer. Not the asshole. 1. Making a cancer patient feel guilty for having cancer is horrible. 2. He is not as affected as you. His body is not going through the treatments. I'm sure it's scary for him, but nothing like what you are going through. People don't understand that if they haven't been through it. On a side note, I hope treatment is going well. I'm a BC survivor, 5 years out, and I remember how scary and surreal it all felt. Best wishes. This is absolutely unreal. It's a horrible statistic that wives with cancer are far more likely to be left by their husbands than vice versa, and this makes me think he's leading up to it. He says he has to treat you so horribly or else he will blow up and leave. He is literally insisting that he is the victim of your cancer. Seems more like he's one of the tumors. Am I the asshole for calling the police on my coworker over a prank? Throw away ACCT and sorry for formatting on mobile. I, 25 female, just started this new job as a front desk clerk at a hotel. I work the overnight shift. I usually have a coworker, 30 SM, with me, but he never really spoke to me. A few nights ago was my first night alone. At around 2 a.m., I notice a person in the parking lot. You can see the lot from the front desk. The lighting in the lot is terrible, so you don't really see faces until they get close to the lobby door. Just standing there not moving for about 5 to 10 minutes. I thought this was strange and of course it creeped me out. After about 10 minutes of them standing there, They moved, I guess, to call the front desk because he moved his hand to his ear and the phone rang. I picked up and on the other end I just heard, 5 buried. None found. In a low voice, and then they hung up. At this point I was terrified, so I ran to the back room and called 911. I explained to the operator about what had been going on and they sent a couple cops to the hotel. When they arrived, one cop was talking to the person outside and the other one was at the front desk talking to me, telling me that the person outside was claiming that he also worked here. I was confused but also admitted I hadn't seen the person's face, just the silhouette. At this point the other officer and the person from the lot come in and it turns out to be my coworker, and he was upset, saying he would have never pranked me if he knew I was going to call the police and try to get him arrested. I didn't go through with pressing charges, but I did tell my manager what happened the next morning. It's been a few days now and I guess he told other coworkers what happened, and now no one is really speaking to me and giving me a bit of an attitude. I feel like I took it a bit too far with calling the police. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Your coworker was trying to scare you on purpose, and now he's angry that you did what any reasonable person would have done under the circumstances. Location flag, not the asshole, but this guy is bad news. He's in his 30s and spends his night off at 2 a.m. showing up to his job to prank his younger female coworker? He should be fired. That's harassment, and it's fucking creepy and weird, not to mention unprofessional. Not the asshole, he should have been fired, immediately. Not the asshole. If I were you, I'd follow up with HR and make a formal complaint. It's hardly appropriate for a grown man to harass a younger woman, who is alone at night no less, and terrify her for his own weird enjoyment. Pranks are supposed to be funny, yeah? No. Not the asshole. You didn't know it was him, so you haven't done anything maliciously. Unlike that absolute tool, who for some reason has decided it would be a great idea to scare the living daylights out of a young female, stuck working alone. What else were you supposed to do? Laugh it off? Please. You could have been in very real danger, and you acted accordingly. He's the awe. Your coworkers are awe. You are not. Not the asshole. That's not a prank. Had it been me, I'd have gone straight to HR with a complaint about inciting terror and a hostile working environment. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. In this day and age, he's lucky a hotel guest didn't see him and fire a weapon or something. Am I the asshole for walking out of a coparenting meeting I planned? So this is a throwaway because it's a little too messy for my liking. I, 22 female, broke up with my ex, Tyler, 26 male, after I caught him cheating with Tina, 19 female, 7 months ago. Tyler and I have a 3-year-old baby together. When we broke up, we sat down and discussed custody of our kid. He is supposed to have our kid every other weekend, but he visits every few days and takes our kid out after work. Overall, that part has been okay. Crappy boyfriend, great parent. After Tyler and I broke up, he immediately started dating Tina. She has been the only issue with us co-parenting. She's convinced I'm trying to get back with him, and she's constantly saying she's going to adopt my child and I'd never see my baby again. I have talked to Tyler about this, but he won't have any of it and thinks I'm just trying to start crap with Tina. I'm not. I don't want him back, hence why I left him. Here recently, like in the past 3 months, she has been trying to lay down ground rules with our child, aka, baby can't have sweets, baby isn't allowed to have a babysitter without her approval, baby's bedtime, what he eats, what baby watches, plays with, who the doctors are, etc. It's been miserable, arguing that she's not baby's parent and she needs to back off. Anytime Tyler and I get together to discuss anything to do with our child, she's there talking over me and acting like her word is law. Now the big problem. I called Tyler and asked to meet up at the park to discuss preschool while our kid played. I told him I did not want Tina there, as this is a discussion for us as our child's parents and I did not want her input. He agreed and we planned to meet yesterday. Baby and I got there first and he was playing on the playground when Tyler showed up. Guess who was with him? Tina. I tried to grin and bear it and just have the discussion, but Tina started in. She didn't want baby to attend a public preschool and she wanted to homeschool him as it would be better for baby's development. Anytime I tried to give my thoughts, she would talk over me. I finally had enough. I told her to shut her mouth, that she was not the parent and this wasn't her decision. Tyler got mad and said she should have a say. I got baby packed up to him to give daddy a hug and we left. All while Tina was yelling and insulting me. I called Tyler later in the day to discuss what had happened and he told me I was being a B-word. He said I should have heard Tina out as she was only thinking about baby. I told him no, she was thinking only about herself and I'm done talking about things if she was there. He got angry and hung up. I called my mom to rant about it all and she said I should have just ignored Tina. I was the one who asked Tyler to come out. She says Tina might one day become baby's step-mom, so I needed to learn how to work with her, but I don't know. None of this feels right. Ira? Get a lawyer. Get an idea of your legal rights. Here in Wisconsin, if baby daddy isn't paying child support, he doesn't have rights. The only good thing, his girlfriend is 19 and this may get old for her eventually, or she has her own baby with him. By the way, your mom is wrong. Tina has no legal rights period and needs to STFU. You not the asshole. Hi. Family law paralegal here. You need to lawyer the fuck up immediately and get a formal parenting plan in place, with provisions that only the biological parents can make decisions. Also, put in place that if there are coparenting conversations happening, again, it is only between the biological parents. Then, when Tina starts on her bullshit and shows up, ask your attorney to file a notice of non-compliance. You may be able to force a no-contact order, different than a restraining order, on her. Either way, you legitimately need representation. She sounds aggressive and ignorant, which is a very dangerous combination. Not the asshole. Get a lawyer. Please tell me you have a lawyer that can protect you. This needs professional mediation. Everything, like schooling, should be part of the divorce agreement. Your mom is dead ass wrong. Not the asshole. Why the fuck is a 19 girl trying to be a mom to someone else's kid? Assuming OP is not some deadbeat parent, that teenage girl has no business in how that child is being raised, especially if the child is being properly cared for. If someone ever got that disrespectful with me about my child, I would have checked their entitled attitude so fast. Also, the audacity of the ex to bring the girl after you as the mother said not to is so disrespectful. Like, in what world would a teenage girl know more about raising a child than the woman who gave to said child? If I were you, I would get a lawyer and file for full custody and go as low contact as possible. Not the asshole. I've been through this. Get a lawyer. Tina has absolutely zero say in how your child is parented. Am I the asshole for telling our parents my brother is getting married? My brother got kicked out when he was 14, a freshman in high school. He was going around telling people he was kicked out because he was gay, but that's not true. We knew he was gay. Our dad was a pastor, so he told my brother to keep it a secret at least until he graduates. My brother just had to tell his friend though. I tried to help him and be there for him, but there was only so much I could do. My parents financially supported me, so I couldn't go against their wishes. My brother, now 24, reached out to me. We've been communicating every few months, but he told me he was getting married. I went to dinner at their house. I thought it would be just the three of us, but it was a dinner with his friends and his friends' parents. The friends' parents are the ones he stayed with when he was kicked out, and they seem to think that makes them his family. I asked my brother if our parents knew about his engagement, and he told me they didn't. He doesn't want a relationship with them, and he doesn't want them at the wedding. I told him he was being childish, he needs to get over it and forgive them. The only reason they never let him come home was because he was shit-talking them around town. He has a chance to show them he's the bigger person now, and to apologize. I went home after he wouldn't listen and I told our parents everything. I gave them his number. Apparently, they called and tried to talk to him. He hung up and blocked them, then called me to scream at me for giving them his info. He told me I was an asshole and uninvited to his wedding. Am I the asshole, or was he just overreacting? You are the asshole. I hope this is fake. How awful you minimized the pain your parents caused your brother. Your parents kicked your brother out of the house when he was too young to drive. They told him to hide his identity from his community. He made clear that he doesn't want a relationship with them now, and you stomped his boundaries without a lick of compassion for him. You also minimized and dismissed his chosen family. You don't sound any better than your parents. They seem to think that makes them his family. It does. You are the asshole. No, your brother does not need to forgive them. Regardless of the reason, your parents kicked him out when he was a child. Your parents suck. Also, is the friend you're referring to his fiancé? So according to your first paragraph, he did not get kicked out because he was gay, but because he told people he was gay? And that is somehow different? The rest is also problematic. You are the asshole. But I'm so intrigued by that logical pretzel you've tried to make yourself and your parents seem like better people. Also, he needs to forgive them. What have they done to ask for forgiveness? What have they done to deserve forgiveness? Honestly, asshole is too nice of a word. You are the asshole, it is your brother's wedding and his rules apply to that wedding. Your feelings don't matter in that scenario. Why did your parents kick out someone who basically just reached puberty? What was the reasoning? You are the asshole. He opened up and tried to trust you and you broke that trust as soon as you possibly could.